Back to Ball Homestead. Today I have been out butchering chickens. I got the last, I think there was 10 or 11 complete. So what I've decided to do is I'm gonna can all the breast meat up in jars because we love chicken salad. I like to have it where I can grab it out and make a meal, a casserole or something. And with the legs and thighs, because I just skinned these chickens and I just took the breast meat and the leg and thigh. I mean, there ain't much more on them than that. And I put all the legs and thighs in this roaster pot. We're gonna get that seasoned up with the stock of a celery, maybe an onion, some seasoning, and we're gonna let that cook all night. And then the breast, we're gonna get to canning that, and we're gonna get it out of the way. So tomorrow, all this chicken and this stock, we're gonna turn into some recipes. I want to make some chicken tortilla soup and can it up, and chicken pot pie filling and can that up. And I thought we'd see if we had a bunch left and go from there, but those are the two for sures I wanna make. So let's get started. Just adding a little Montreal steak seasoning or chicken seasoning. I got some celery for our chicken pot pie tomorrow, or filling anyways, and I'm gonna chop the end off of it and throw it in there, and I'm gonna chop up a couple of onions and throw them in. And then we're gonna cover that and let it cook all night. I'm getting my canner water in it. See, I hate to waste this end piece off of the celery, so I'm just going to throw it in there because it's going to give this broth flavor. And that's what we're after, friends. Lots of yummy flavor. And I picked up some onions. I'm going to chop up a couple of those and throw in there too. And I'm probably going to go ahead and chop this celery just so that we have it for tomorrow. And I'll probably chop up a couple of onions just so that's done. Alright, we're just going to chop this onion. I'm not even worried about the skins or anything because we're going to strain all that broth out. So I'm just going to throw it in the roaster. I'm just looking for flavor, guys. And those skins and stuff have a lot of flavor in them. We're just going to do the same thing with this one. Okay. Now we're just going to let that cook all night. Now this celery, I want to get this canner loaded first, and then we'll deal with this celery and chop up a bunch of onions for our pie, or our chicken pot pie filling. Alright friends, here we're just chopping up all this chicken breast and we're going to fill our jars. We're just going to fill as many as we can get filled and get those loaded into the pressure canner. I don't put any broth in my raw chicken whenever I'm canning it. I just let the natural juices in the canning process fill in the jar, because if you add juice, you could add too much. That's your choice. That's just how I do it. We're just going to keep filling our jars and see how many we can get. I believe we get 7. And those are going to be so nice to have on our pantry shelf for quick casseroles and quick chicken salads and stuff this winter. Like I said, we always are looking for quick convenience foods in our home canning. I love to have those on my pantry shelf. All right, friends, we got our 7 pints filled with chicken. Now we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of Montreal chicken seasoning on top. This is just how I do it. Then we're going to wipe our rims, every one of them, because we don't want any juice on there or any of that seasoning. We want to have a nice good seal so that all of our jars seal. And we're going to put our ring and our lid on, and we are going to put them into the pressure canner. Meat has to be pressure canned. You cannot water bath can meat. It has to be pressure canned. I just don't water bath can meat. Some people do, and they probably are fine with it. That's their choice. But to me, I want to follow, for my safety and my family's safety, the guidelines for canning meat. And the guidelines say you must pressure can. So that's all I want to say about this. You do what you want to do, but this is just how I do it. I pressure can all my meats and non-acidic foods. All right, friends, we're just going to do a little prep work for tomorrow to save us some time. So while I had everything out, I washed my cutting board and my knife, and we're going to chop all this celery up for our chicken pot pie tomorrow. I'm so excited to make this and have this on my pantry shelf. We do a lot of building projects and repair projects around the homestead in the fall and winter time, and it will be so nice to have this on the pantry shelf where I can just go grab it, either make a pie crust or buy a pie crust, fill it, pop it in the oven, and we'll have a meal in no time. That kind of thing really helps me out. That's why I like to do these kinds of things so that it saves me later. Plus, we like to grow a lot of our own things. I know I didn't get the celery and the onions and the vegetables and stuff for the chicken pot pie, but um, we didn't grow those. I did buy frozen vegetables for that because I wanted them to have a good texture. The stuff I have now is already canned, and I was afraid it would be too mushy. So I did buy frozen vegetables that we will put in that. All right, we're just chopping up some onions. I'm throwing all the tops, bottoms, all the skins, everything in the roaster pot because any extra flavor we can add to this broth, the better. I'm just, anything. I don't want to waste anything. We can throw it in there with it. So we're just going to get these onions chopped up. I'm just using the same bowl. I'm going to throw them in there with the celery. And we are going to cover this and put it in the fridge until tomorrow. I'm excited about both of these recipes. I hope they turn out well because warm things like this in the wintertime is absolutely amazing, friends. That's the kind of foods we go for, is those cozy, warm meals. We like to have soups and chili and stuff like that in the winter months. Our pressure canner is up to temperature, and we're going to can this for 75 minutes. All right, good morning, friends. We're going to get started on this chicken pot pie filling. I've got all the chicken picked off the bones already this morning and all the broth strained and ready to use. So we're going to get going on this. All right, I've got our roasting pan out here, and we chopped these yesterday, these celery and onions. And I had we cooked bacon for breakfast, so I saved that grease, and we're going to cook these onions and celery in that bacon grease. That'll just add some more flavor. We're going to cook these down for a bit. We're going to add some salt and pepper to them. The salt will help the celery and the onions release its oil or its water, and it'll help it cook down better. And some pepper. And we're just going to let that cook down. All right, I decided to chop up a few of our garden potatoes that we grew earlier in the year in this mixture because that will just be another thing to add to our chicken pot pie. smells wonderful already. I love the smell of onions and celery cooking though. Okay. Probably need to go ahead and get our canner turned on because once this gets going, it's going to be a pretty quick process, I think. And we'll want our canner to be hot so we can put our hot filled jars in the canner and it's less likely the jars will break. So we are going to do that. Give this a little stir and we're going to let this go for just a few more minutes. All right. I hope my pan's big enough because I want to make a bunch of this chicken pot pie filling. Okay. Put this garlic in there. Well, one of them's huge. One of those cloves. I'm going to have to cut it in half. Let's see if we can fit her in there. What? Ooh, I broke it. Oh, it smells so good. There's something about fresh garlic, friends. All right. Now we're going to add the rest of our vegetables. And I just bought these little packs at our local grocery store in Newark because it's on my way home from work every day. And I do most of my shopping there. We're just going to add these in. I got 5 of these because I'm wanting to make a bunch of this. Like I said, I didn't want to use some of our home canned vegetables because I didn't want them to be like soggy because they're already all canned, and I was afraid that would make a soggy vegetable in the chicken pot pie. So I wanted it to be really good, you know. I'm just gonna mix that in there, and next we're gonna add some chicken broth. We need 8 cups of chicken broth here. I have it already all. I done it in some big pitchers over here. So I have 2 gallons here and a pot on the side over there of just broth. So we're going to get 8 cups of this broth into here. Okay, 8. There we go. Let's see how much chicken. We need quite a bit of chicken, which we have a bunch here. We're just going to kind of mix it in. I picked all this off the bone earlier so that you wouldn't have to watch through that, but this is all just leg and thigh meat. We're gonna mix all that in. I don't know if any of y'all have ever used clear gel. It's a canning thickener. Well, we're going to be using some of that today. So I've got to get that out. Where have I put it? This is, I think, the only canning thickener that is approved for home canning is the clear gel, and this is what we use. So it says we need 1 cup and 1/3 of clear gel, and you're going to mix that in some broth. And we're going to measure out 1 cup and 1/3. This will just help to thicken up our chicken pot pie filling. So do that, and we're going to mix it with 1.5 cups of broth. I'm just going to use 2 cups because and then we're going to mix that in. I hope this will all fit. We're about to run out of space. Now we're going to add some garlic powder. And some onion powder. Mix that in. I do want to give it a taste and see if it needs more salt. I don't want to. Yes, it definitely needs more salt. Definitely. We're going to salt that really good. Mix that in. Give that another taste. Much better. Much better. Alright, we're fixing to add our clear gel. I hope I don't run it over here. About got it. I think it's going to work. We're just going to have to be careful in the stirring. Alright. I'm going to be so excited to have this on the pantry shelf this winter. We love those warm, cozy meals like chicken pot pie and chili and soups. So it's going to be nice to have it on the shelf. I'm just going to let this cook for a little bit, friends, and then we're going to get it in our jars and get it in the canner. It's that easy. We're going to start filling jars, friends. This is so full. Okay. but there ain't going to be a lot. We might just add that to our chicken tortilla soup, just so it doesn't go to waste. Just going to get all of our rims wiped because we don't want any of that broth or grease or anything on there. Just put our lids on and get it in the canner. My canner holds 7 quarts, which I think most of them do. So it always makes me happy to have a full canner. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of juice in this one. Just a bit. Put that rim. Put that on. Need one more lid and ring here. This one, I'm just going to take a spoonful out. There, I feel better now. Alright, our canner is loaded. We're going to get the lid on there, let it vent for 10 minutes, then put the weight on. And we're going to get this canned up, and in the meantime, we're going to get started on our chicken tortilla soup. Alright friends, we're going to get started on this chicken tortilla soup. I'm just leaving the little dab of the chicken pot pie mixture that was in the bottom here. There's no need in wasting it, and those veggies will be just fine in the soup. So we're cutting up a couple of onions. One's really small. So I'm just going to cut that up real quick and throw that in. We're going to let those cook down for a little bit. Okay. I threw a big chunk of butter in there too. All right. When you're canning, pressure canning, the pressure canning process cooks your food. So we don't want to get these onions to where they're non-existent anymore, but we do want to cook them down just a little. All right, we're going to go ahead and add our green chilies. It calls for a cup of green chilies, but I'm going to add 2 cans because I love the flavor of green chilies. We're going to mix those in. Now we're going to add our black beans and our kidney beans. And these are home canned. I can all my beans up in the winter usually when I ain't got a lot of canning projects. I always listen for the pop and smell everything to make sure it's good. But we're going to pop those in. Next, our kidney beans. Same process. Hear that pop? Smell them. They smell great. We're just going to pop them in. There we go. All right. Now our can of homegrown corn. Well, I say homegrown. We buy it and we put it up every year. We don't have enough garden space to grow corn. Smells great. Dump that in. And our homegrown carrots. I should have grabbed another bag of something or got some fresh carrots because I don't like to use our homegrown ones in this manner, but it calls for carrots. So we're going to throw those in and they're soft, so they're going to break up real easy. We're just going to mix that together, friends. See, they're soft. They may be non-existent by the time we get done since they're not fresh, but oh well. I'll add some nutrition to it. Now we need our chicken. We're going to add the rest of our chicken here. And how much stock? 6 cups. 6 cups of chicken broth. Okay, now we need powder, onion powder, and our chicken pot pie is up to temperature, so we're going to get that set, and we need to do this for 90 minutes, so it's an hour and a half. Turn that down some. I think I'm just going to add a pack of taco seasoning to this. I think that would be lovely. Then we'll taste it. Salt. Salt, salt, salt. Get another spoon in here. Oh yeah, much better. That's perfect. We're just going to turn this off and get this jarred up, and when our canner gets done, which it's going to be a while, we'll put these in. We're going to also just doing this stock up real quick so we can get it out of the way. I like to kind of clean as I go. So I've got another pan of broth over here. We can strain it out now. We got 4 jars of stock here. That's ready for the canner. And I figure we're going to have about 7 quarts of soup too. Which we used probably this much stock in our soup and our filling. So, okay, friends, I was sitting there looking over my video footage and realized that I had not added the rotel tomatoes to this. So I poured all the jars back in the pot and we're going to get those refilled. I think we'll probably have another quart or two of this soup because I was thinking it should have made about the same amount as our chicken pot pie, and was just looking over the footage and I was like, I did not add that soup, so, or the rotel. So I come back, added that in, and I'm going to get these jars refilled. I got all the jars re-washed and ready to fill. All right, friends, that's what it was. We had 7 quarts of our tortilla soup. I added a quart and a pint of rotel to this. So when I added that other pint back in, it made it 7 of our home canned rotel tomatoes in it. You can use any kind of tomatoes you want. That's just what I chose to use. And as soon as this canner, we got about 30 minutes left on it. When it gets cool, we'll get it reloaded with this tortilla soup. Well, we got our chicken pot pie filling out. I had something happen that has never in my canning years ever happened. But I was using some jars from the Dollar General store. They're like a new brand they have. And those 2 jars blew the lids off. It didn't mess up the contents, it just kind of made a mess, but I'm using that right now to make us a chicken pot pie for lunch. And some yummy fried okra. But we have our tortilla soup in now, and we're waiting for it to come up to pressure. I don't believe I used any of those jars in this process. I hope not, because I will not be using those to pressure can anymore. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But usually it'll just bust the jar bottom out or something. But friends, I've been canning a long time. This was the first time I ever seen it just blow 2 lids completely off. Anyways, we have 5 jars, and we have a jar and 3/4 in the oven with a crust on top and some homemade biscuits and our okra here, and we're gonna have a little feast. Oh, friends, look at this beauty. Those 10 chickens gave us so many meals right here. We've got 7 pints of chicken breast, 4 quarts of chicken stock, 5 quarts of chicken pot pie filling, and 7 quarts of chicken tortilla soup. I'm so thankful and so happy to have this on our pantry shelf for the winter. It's going to be so yummy this winter pulling those out and using them. I do think next time I'll leave the chicken pot pie filling without the thickener. That way if I wanted to just make chicken noodle soup, I could use that same filling. I thought about that hindsight, and next time that's what I'll do. All right, friends, thank you for stopping back by our homestead. It's been a long, busy day, canning and cooking all day, and I'm fixing to go put my feet up for a bit. Until next time, goodbye.